Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. In today's video, we're going to be making some pantry / use up what you have kind of meals. This was right before we moved out of our apartment. We were leaving a couple days after this, so I was trying to use up everything I possibly could. And even though these were pantry meals, these all turned out to be amazing dinners. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and get some inspiration out of it, but let's go ahead and get started and I'll show you how I made them. First up today, we're going to make a buffalo chicken pizza. To begin, for this one, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 375 degrees. And as you can see, I already prepared a pizza crust. I will link that recipe down below for you if you want to try it out. And I also did go ahead and cook one single chicken breast in the oven until it was reaching 165 degrees. I seasoned it lightly with salt and pepper, and once it was done, I shredded it up in this pan. Into the chicken, you're going to go ahead and add your favorite buffalo sauce. You'll want to make sure that the chicken is a bit saucy because this will be the base of our pizza. Once that is all mixed together, go ahead and dump the entire thing onto the pizza crust and spread it out as evenly as you can. You will want to try to leave about 1 inch of space between the edge of the pizza and where you start the chicken and the sauce. And if you need to add a little bit more sauce like I did, then go ahead and do that. You want to make sure you have plenty of that on there. Next, you're going to take some ranch dressing and just drizzle that over the top of that chicken and buffalo sauce. You can add as much of this ranch dressing as you'd like. And then for the cheeses today, I'm just going to be using some mozzarella and some mild cheddar, just using up what I had left over in the refrigerator. Over the top, you will want to have about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of cheese. Listed down below in the description box, I have all of the ingredients that I use in today's recipes, along with measurements as close as I possibly could list them, since I was just kind of making these with what I had, but please check that out below if you are interested in any of that information. Once all the cheese was on top, I went ahead and just added this into my oven and baked for about 15 to 20 minutes until the crust was cooked through and the cheese was melted over the top. I did add some green onions on top as well, and you can add some more ranch on there if you want to do that too. Next up, we're making some Salsa Verde chicken burritos. To begin with this one, I am going to go ahead and preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And then moving over here to my small crock pot, I'm adding in 2 frozen chicken breasts, about 1/4 of this jar of salsa verde, half of a yellow onion that I chopped up, 1 small can of green chilies, 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and then just give that a mix the best you can. I went ahead and added my lid and I let this cook on a low heat for about 5 to 6 hours until the chicken was falling apart. At this point, your chicken should be very easy to shred, so go ahead and do that with a fork and mix it all up inside of the crock pot. Moving over here to my 9x13 casserole dish, I'm just going to be using up some of these burrito-sized tortilla shells that I had left in the cabinet. Into each one, I'm going to add a scoop of that shredded chicken with a handful of cheese, and I'm just using whatever cheese I have left at this point once again. And then I'm just going to roll those up nice and tight and add them into my casserole dish. You'll just keep repeating that until you've used all of your ingredients. As you can see, these tortillas were actually a little bit smaller than those other ones, but like I said, we're trying to use up everything we had at this point. Now that those are all rolled up and placed in the casserole dish, I'm just going to let those sit over here for a minute while I prepare the sauce. Into my saucepan, I'm adding about 2 to 3 tablespoons of salted butter, and once that is melted, I'm going to add in about 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Whisk that together and then let that flour cook for about a minute or so until it's starting to bubble. Now slowly I'm going to start adding in 2 cups of chicken broth, and I'm also going to go ahead and pour in the rest of that salsa verde. To season this sauce up, I'm going to add about a half teaspoon of cumin and just a couple shakes of pepper. Next, into the sauce, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat, and we're going to add in some sour cream. I'd say I added about 3/4 of a cup of sour cream in here. I'm just going to go ahead and get that mixed up until the sauce is nice and smooth, and then we're going to transfer it onto the top of our burritos. Spread that sauce around to make sure that all of the burritos are covered, that way the tortillas do not get hard in the oven. And now finally you can add some shredded cheese over the top. I was using mozzarella since that's what I had, but I think that Monterey Jack would be perfect on here. Add about 1 to 2 cups of cheese and then add this into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes to heat everything through. Here's what it should be looking like when it does come out of the oven. And then this is what my plate looked like in the end. We didn't have a lot of toppings left in the fridge at this point, so I just added some fresh jalapenos and some leftover fire sauce from Taco Bell. These burritos actually turned out to be amazing for a pantry use up what you have kind of meal. We actually would really like to have these again at some point and add some more toppings on there. But the chicken was spectacular inside of there, and the sauce just really finished everything up really nice. And now we're going to make a creamy Parmesan one-pot pasta. To begin, I'm just chopping up half of a yellow onion, and then moving over here to my big pot, I'm adding 1 tablespoon of avocado oil with 1 tablespoon of butter. I'm just going to give these a minute to warm up and melt in the pan while I get my chicken ready. On my cutting board, I have 1 chicken breast that I split in half, and then I'm just going to sprinkle on some flour, salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning onto both sides of the chicken. Rub the flour and seasonings in the best you can, that way they stick really well to the chicken, and make sure to get it all over the sides of the chicken breast as well. The chicken is all ready now, so we're going to transfer it over into our pan. This chicken is just going to cook for about 3 to 4 minutes per side until it's cooked all the way through and getting some really nice color to it, just like this. Once the chicken has reached 165 degrees, go ahead and remove it from the pan and set it aside for right now. Into the same pan, I'm going to go ahead and add that onion in here and let that cook for about 5 minutes or so. Once soft, I'm going to go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Stir that around and let that garlic cook for about 30 seconds or so until you can smell the garlic nice and strong. Next, I'm adding 2 cups of chicken broth along with 3/4 of a cup of half and half, or milk will be fine as well. I'm just going to use my spoon here to scrape the bottom of the pan to pick up all of that flavor. Now you'll need to add in 8 ounces of pasta. I'm using an assortment because that's what I had left, but you can use any type that you like. Let this come to a boil, give it a good stir, add the lid, and let this continue to cook until all of the liquid has been absorbed by the pasta. Just make sure that you are checking on it every once in a while and stirring it. Mine did stick slightly, so you'll want to keep an eye on that. Next, I'm just adding some shredded Parmesan cheese. Anywhere from a half cup to 1 cup of cheese is perfect. Give that a stir and let that cheese completely melt. And then I also did decide to add a little bit more seasoning in here, so I added some more Italian seasoning, pepper, and salt. Then I went ahead and sliced up my chicken and added that right back on top of the pasta. Sprinkled it with just a little bit more cheese, added the lid and just kind of let that chicken heat back up for a moment, and then it was ready to go. Once again, this was a great pantry meal. This pasta turned out to be delicious. I feel like you can honestly never go wrong with anything Parmesan, so that alone just made this meal great. I got to use up all of those extra noodles that I had in the cabinet, and then on the side there, as you can see, I made some steamed broccoli and some homemade garlic bread. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed these pantry use up what you have kind of meals, and maybe it gave you some inspiration. I sure hope so anyways. If you did make it all the way to the end of today's video, don't forget to leave me a flower down in the comments below to let me know that you did, and I hope to see you back here very soon. Bye!